Alright, hello everyone. So this is the March 14th schedule update notice. I'll talk about Gregor later, but there are a few important things I want to point out in this patch notes. You need to take note that your WAW Gregor ego is going to be a season 3 ego, meaning that you should probably spark it this season if you want to have it for the next season. Otherwise, you have to wait one season in order to go and acquire it later on. Yeah, so do take note of this. Very, very important. This banner will last until March 28th. Yeah, so you still have quite a bit of time, but probably get to farming, yeah, to get your Gregor Ego. Right, and then besides that, we're also getting some more Dante's notes. I have not really caught up to these notes, so don't spoil me in the comment section. Major changes here. Added a function to view ID and ego stats and skill tags by Uptie and thread spinning tiers. So this shit here is amazing. I think one of the biggest problems I've had in this game is that I've always had to go and check on Limbus Kusoge or Pmoon even. Pmoon is not the super reliable source, but it is a source to check whether the Uptie 3 or Uptie 4 is like good or bad. But now that it's actually like so simple in the game, I don't have to actually use use the websites anymore. Right? I can just use the Uptie 3, I can use Uptie 4 just to see what's the before and after effect. Yeah, and then I can decide which units I want to Uptie 4 and which units I can just leave it Uptie 3 for now because they are perfectly fine already. Yeah. So this is just an amazing quality of life. I love it. Should help new players quite a lot in deciding who they want to use. And if they don't want to, well, it's a super useful tool for me because I will check the stats in game anyway. So being able to check what happens at Uptie 3 and Uptie 4 so easily is just massive W for me as well. Yep, super good for future videos. Right. And then for two other bug fixes, they also fixed the one where when you are clashing, it's actually showing damage instead of your clash power. So this one definitely wonky, and they fixed it with this patch, really nice. But the Blade Lineage Mentor bug is still here, where if the enemy hits you with a Tremor Burst or Raise Stagger Threshold, you will still get staggered, even though my flash is not supposed to let you get staggered while you are using it. So yeah, this one will only get fixed in March 21st. They're just letting you know that they are going to fix this at some point. Yeah, right. Besides that, nothing much else to talk about for this patch. So remember these two things only. WoW Ego here, only Season 3, alright? It's a Season 3 WoW Ego, followed by this quality of life here is just super amazing, massive W. Holy shit, this is the best shit ever. Yep. Alright, so let's get to the Gregor part. Alright, so for the Gregor Ego, it is quite interesting because when I saw it, I thought it was going to be some Lust Resonance Ego, but turns out it's anything Ego. It is basically any resonance. The shtick that this ego does is that it's meant to give damage up and power up to a certain sin type. So it's quite similar to that fight where you want to use your correct sin to hit the correct flower or something like that. But in this case, you're getting a buff depending on which flower you use, which is going to be your team, right? If you use Pride, then you get Pride damage up and you get Pride power up. You get additional damage up, you get additional power up. And then furthermore, if you can get absolute resonance at this number, whatever it is, you also apply the above effects for next turn as well. So hopefully this is not a 6, because if this is a 6, right, that means it's locked into Lust, which means that we have to wait a little bit longer to make this a useful ego. But if it's like absolute resonance of 4 or 5, that's totally doable. It means that you just need to force, let's say Wrath Resonance with 5 other characters, which is very easy to do, and then pop this ego as well in order to get the this turn and next turn Wrath damage up and Wrath power up, for example. And then you can set up a big Wrath turn this turn and then a big Wrath turn next turn, for example. You got a lot of good shit here with this ego. It can do a lot of setups for you, but I think the thing I'm worried about is the cost. Because it is going to be a WoW ego, it means it's going to be very expensive. I hope the value of the ego is still going to be quite high. Maybe if you give me like 3 damage up, 3 power up this turn, next turn, for a WoW ego cost, I think that is actually pretty okay. Because sometimes you can set it up, and then you be like, alright, let's set up one whole full resonance team, and then we just go and slam it into the enemy. Like let's ram a self-destructive purge, mind whip, and then all of the other Liu Wrath skills or something like that, and then you can unleash a huge amount of damage this turn and next turn. Yeah. Really interesting to see what is the future setup's gonna be. Besides all of these buffs here, this ego also scales its AoE based on the number of resonance, and it determines the number of allies you heal by your resonance as well. So the whole ego is basically resonance, meaning that if you don't do resonance, it probably isn't that great, but there is a certain baseline to the ego that probably makes it pretty okay. Probably not that great, to be honest. It feels like you definitely are forced to use this as a resonance tool. Otherwise, you better not use this ego at all, because you are missing out on like 3 lines worth of extra buffs, and this line here is very important to get the next turn effect as well. If you want to do a nuke this turn and a nuke next turn, or even just setting up a big nuke next turn, for example. Yep, so definitely meant to be run in a resonance team of any kind, and most likely Ahab will be inside all of those teams. Yeah, so yeah, this is a very interesting ego, and they're definitely pushing the resonance teams a little bit harder as we are going into the next season. We're getting very close to the next season already. We should be coming to the end of season 3 quite soon, and then we will get our Heathcliff storyline. Oh, I cannot wait for that too. Oh, alright. So, besides all of this stuff here, we also got a corroded form, and the corroded form also scales its AoE based on resonance, but instead it flips whatever you get here. So you get damage down, you get bind next turn, you get fragility and power down for corresponding sin affinity, just like how this top side works. So you can get additional sin fragility, additional sin power down, and then next turn and this turn as well. So this is just like the flipped version of the top side here. I do not know when you will actually use this. I wonder how much fragility it actually applies, because if it applies 3 to 4 fragility, it's actually probably worth it to try for something like that, even though it's a WoW ego, because that kind of fragility is basically a death sentence for most of the bosses in the game. So yeah, I can't wait to see the numbers here. It could potentially be mid, it could potentially be very strong. It is a WoW ego, so my expectations are a little bit raised here. I'm expecting something pretty decent or pretty good for the cost. It could also potentially be super powerful like Sunshower. Who really knows, right? Who really knows? Because I have no clue what the coin power of this thing is at all. I do not know what any of these values are at all. But if these numbers here are like 2 and 2, I think that's pretty damn good already. Yeah, because it's this turn and next turn, just like Sunshower. Right. So with that in mind, I don't really have anything else to comment about, except I can't really remember what power does. If I remember correctly, power is like, power just increases your damage dealt by that sin, question mark. But then again, the sin damage up here is actually the damage increase. So I think power is like coin power related. Can't really remember this. So if you remember what power does, do let me know. I need a refresher for the power here, for the power up here. Yep. So I'm guessing this is like damage up, and this is like sin coin power increase or something like that. I don't know. Yep. But anyway, besides that, yeah, this ego here looks pretty interesting, and I'll have to see the numbers first before I say whether this ego is worth it or not. But as a WoW ego with no competition for Gregor, I think that even if you just accidentally get this ego, you pretty much just slap it on your Gregor every single time. And if you use it, you use it. If you don't, then whatever. It has no competition at all. It's in the WoW slot. Right. So that's it for this video. So the main 3 things to take note of is that this WoW ego here is going to be resonance based ego, so most likely you need to run it in any of the resonance teams, but by itself it probably won't be very good. For the schedule update, this is a season 3 ego, so you need to spark it before season 3 ends. And then for the Uptie preview here, oh, this shit is the best. This is the best quality of life ever, like in this game. It's so damn good. Holy shit. Yeah. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. Thanks guys for watching, and leave a comment on anything that I might have missed or anything that you might know better than me. Alright. Thanks guys for watching. Bye bye.